Oh, hello. Hello, everyone. Hello, Spooky. How are you? Did you watch the first two episodes? Why isn't this auto playing?
Soiled it.
Why aren't you auto playing?
It's true, all of it. I do love the shared pain in that editing conversation. I'm just like, yeah, it's just so real.
I mean, we've all
Well,
been
because when I
been
started streaming, I had animations that were certain Star Wars character sprites in motion, but they all had a gray background, but they all had a slightly different gray background. And it was like,
Yeah,
and you couldn't just delete the background, because then you'd see all the other stuff behind all the other frames. Yeah, it was cool.
gotta get my Daredevil red on today.
I did the best I could green screening Anakin out of that council room doing the whole Rise of Skywalker ghost edit.
Do you still have your hotkeys set up to cut away to the clips of like Anakin going what or whatever?
Oh, the keys?
What?
Yeah.
Cassian Ender.
Cassian Ender.
That'll be relevant soon.
Oh, can't wait. I'm so excited. I haven't watched any trailers on it either, just because I want to stay as, like, hype as possible.
I maintain that's never not been relevant to my life.
Bix has never been irrelevant.
Because of Obi-Wan.
I think that's the one I was thinking of, actually.
I don't have a
Big
what.
killing.
I need to get some set up myself for, because I got myself a little Stream Deck Neo, because it has 8 buttons, but it also has 2 touch buttons on it that allow you to cycle between pages of buttons and stuff like that too. So like, and then you can make folders and stuff like that on it too, and like, it's crazy.
I want to get pedal buttons,
Same.
so I
Push
can
to
do
talk
zooms.
pedals. That too. I honestly just want to get pedals for Star Citizen, but that's an entirely different set of pedals.
I can do it manually through video where I do this. But I want to like actually zoom in. How are you guys?
Sleepy but good.
Oh, we're doing all right. It's
Missed you last night.
yeah.
What was last night?
Yeah. Our filming night.
Oh
So here it is.
yeah. Do you have one of those fun like glue band-aids on it?
Yeah, it's a derma skin.
Yeah.
Can't really see it too much, but what's funny is it started out as just like just stroke and crystal, but my artist was like, we should do a gradient, make it look like the crystal is shining, and then add like white ink.
So it looks like 3D and reflective, or like it's actually shiny.
Yeah.
That was the really
So
fun thing with my
elevated it.
sister's R2D2 not password. Work life, when it just seeps into your skull, and then anyways, my sister has a really good R2D2 tattoo that the tattoo artist actually won a live like tattoo competition with. But it was the same thing where she just brought up a picture of R2D2 and was like kind of describing it, and he was like, I know this picture, it shows his like light being like red and stuff like that, like it's supposed to, but like it will look fake if I do that. Do you want it to look real or do you want it to look fake? And she's like, well, I want it to look real. And it's like, okay, do you mind if I change it? And she's like, sure. And it looks phenomenal. It's insane.
Well, now I
Good
need to
morning,
see it.
lads. It's
Oh,
12:39 a.m. Hello, hello.
How are her lizards? God, my wife is so jealous.
Did when so I was actually just talking to her too, unrelated. She got me to spend too much money
Nice.
and buy myself a couple sets of Magic the Gathering cards, even though I've never really played, to play with her, because after her stroke, she wanted something that she could just very casually do and not need to stare at a screen. And so playing cards she can literally hold up to her face if she needs to when her vision was getting weird. But I plan on doing a stream with her again here, and during that time, I can see if she can bring out some of her lizards, and I'll make sure to clip it so you can show your wife. But she has a bunch. They did sell a bunch as well, just because it's been getting a lot for her to try and take care of all of them. But their biggest things right now, I think, are their turtle and fish.
I wouldn't be able
gonna
to
see
play
what's
that,
up.
Harith, without any copyright flags. Crazy, 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 crazy. Act like an angel, dressed like crazy.
Supposedly the next, because Overwatch is doing another collab with Le Seraphim. Apparently that's going to be the emote in it, is the choreography for Crazy,
Interesting.
which is fun.
You know, for like a day, I was annoyed at how, cause Luna Snow is like supposedly that I don't know anything about the character, but they're supposed to be like a K-pop, right? Like they're Korean.
Yeah, yep.
I got ticked off that they were being appropriated for another song. I was like, it's K-pop. Stop it. You've seen the videos where like the ult is played to like a Spanish song, or a guy singing to a Spanish song?
Yeah, I know the one you're talking about.
And every time I see
it's,
that,
it's
I'm
not
like-
even like an actual song. It's like a streamer singing to the
Yeah,
song. Yeah.
And every time
know
I saw that, I was
exactly
like,
what you're talking
no, it's crazy. Stop it. Stop it.
about. I do love that Crazy did kind of become the like unintentional theme song for Luna Snow.
Yeah.
That makes
I
me really
actually-
happy.
I actually don't like Crazy as her song, but that's just me.
Well, it is just you. Have fun being alone.
I mean, if,
You're like,
honestly-
thanks, I will.
honestly, if I were to pick a K-pop song, it would be La Di Da. Cal knows the song.
Yeah, I think there's
That's the name of my K-pop playlist is Lottie Duh.
no. I just think there's yeah. I mean, there's better options.
How'd you like my new profile picture showing my face? I can't really see much of it. It's like a tiny, in the chat, a tiny one. But just to avoid copyright, I'm gonna play it on my phone.
Oh. And then sing over it?
No, I just think like this playing
I
over
do like this song.
Luna Snow's.
I mean,
Yeah.
what they really just need to do
Just
This
the
is a good
motif,
song.
like the down, 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 or the. What would be the theme song for?
I think it needs to be a solo
Well-
idol.
Well, what I was gonna say was they should do what
Oh.
they did with Lucio from Overwatch, is just make it a full song and release it on Spotify.
Yeah,
Like-
absolutely.
Yeah.
Now the song that plays for her, I also don't like that because it's like a bootleg TikTok sound.
Have you seen the sound when she's in that like DJ skin?
yeah.
I like that one.
So,
It does sound better. It's the same song, but it does sound
Yeah, but it's actually got like vocals to it.
yeah.
So this is the one. So I'm gonna give you a soloist. Then her name is Chungha. This would go well, I think.
Yeah.
Dude, this would actually pump. Well, so you know how it kind of like drops down there? You could have that flip-flop when you go to damage or when you go to healing, right? So like when it drops and it comes out lower style, that could be when you're doing the healing, and then when it kind of ramps back up, that's when you're doing the damage boost.
I'm ready to get this. I put it
Yeah,
in.
exactly.
I put it in the
so
chat for you
sick.
guys to add to your playlists.
I
Chungha's really good.
I also think it is a little dumb in a good way. How like it's the hardest point of any fight, and all of a sudden she's like, dance, and you're like, come on,
Break it down.
like to be standing next to a giant roided out Frank Castle going, judge, jury, executioner, and she's like,
yeah, but like, what if we danced though? Your bullets can't hurt me. It's so good. Honestly, I agree. I love the absurdity of it, right? And I really hope that they continue to bring a lot of these characters that don't kind of like fit the typical like hero shooter thing, right? Like,
yeah,
we got Squirrel Girl, we got Jeff the Land Shark, right? Like, bring these kind of quirky characters out. Rather, like, the fact that we have Jeff the Land Shark as a playable character before the Fantastic Four were in it, or before Daredevil's even considered in the game right now, like, keep that attitude.
Yeah, more like that, absolutely.
Yeah. Like, what's so I'm not the most
I mean, the
knowledgeable when it
fact that
comes
Luna
to
Snow
hero
was one of
stuff.
their first choice, which I mean, she was on my main squad in Marvel Future Fight. I loved her back then, but yeah, they
Who's
wild.
somebody from left field that's like nobody knows this character? They would be funny to see in Rivals.
Sorry, there's a mutant. His name is I Scream, like EYE Scream.
They need to do that purely for the call outs, so you can have somebody be like, "I scream, I scream, I scream." Well, I need that.
Yeah, okay, it's just ice cream, and his ability is he just melts.
Wow. Pep, I saw the stupidest video before. A guy said, I guess Anakin was still part of the light side when he killed the younglings, all because his saber didn't turn red the way it did in Acolyte. The guy then followed up by saying, I've never seen the Acolyte, by the way. Well, that's why I keep on telling people, shut up.
Tag me in it.
Don't,
We'll make a
we'll react
make
to
a
it.
video.
But yeah, I mean, like, just like the last guy that we reacted to, like, if you don't know, don't pretend to have like a galaxy brain moment. Like, that's how he came off in the in the beginning of his video. It's like, you damn right. See, this is what I thought, and I was like, no, you're about to have a trash take. But if you haven't seen that, well, they're gonna do it. The people that hate it the most are just not. They haven't seen it.
Apparently, and this is something that I find funny. I should have. This is something I saw on my 3 a.m. TikTok doom scrolling. But there was somebody that was talking about, like, so I was on Reddit recently, and I'm happy to see it, but didn't everybody hate The Last Jedi? But now everybody's turning around and like, oh, it's actually secretly the best movie, and it's like, I'm here for it. Better late than never, but come on.
I feel hipster about it. It's like I was here, but like
I was sitting on the curb outside of the movie theater with my head in my hands, going, "Oh my god, how are they ever going to top this?" I remember.
I keep pointing to my my day one review on it forever lives on the internet. You know, you can't
Yep.
say I was lying back then.
My
It was titled
roommate
"The
can
Best Movie Since Empire Strikes Back." That's what
My
that
old
was in the
roommate
title.
at the time can confirm, because literally we went to see it after work because we were coworkers and roommates, and we literally sat there and we're like, I can't wait to like hear everybody on the internet being like, Star Wars is so back, this is amazing, like, and then literally woke up the next day and it was like, oh, what?
What?
Yeah.
Did they not watch the same movie? Did my theater just get like the good cut of the movie? Like, what?
I turned to my buddy. It was like, man, people are really gonna like this one.
Ugh.
And honestly, it was that was kind of like one of, if not the like catalysts, because a lot of people started doing Luke Skywalker videos because they were pissed about it. Right? They couldn't
Now-
see their hero be so downtrodden, you know?
I hesitate to call that like the start of the whole thing, because I just think there was so much that happened simultaneously. You know what I mean? Like we were in the height of the Me Too movement. We were in the height of, it was like Comic Gate was going on at that time, and there was. I think it was like a cultural moment that allowed that type of thing to flourish and then turn into a wildfire, and then now we're here.
Yeah, no, it was certainly a product of its time, but I think in terms of just the Star Wars fandom, I did not experience a lot of the toxicity with The Force Awakens. Like, a lot of people relatively were either kind of lukewarm to enjoyed The Force Awakens when it came out, and like everybody was making theory videos about who Rey was, who Snoke was, and then, like, you know, in addition to what you just described as like the movement in terms of culture and society, The Last Jedi came out. Then I started seeing Rey's a Mary Sue. How can she do all of this? Luke's not my Luke Skywalker. So it like, that's why I said, like, if not the, but one of the catalysts in the shift, because The Force Awakens was largely a positive reception, and then everything just went downhill.
What's funny
Yeah.
is in my for my personal life, I actually had a lot of people who hated The Force Awakens because it was a carbon copy of A New Hope. And then
Yeah, that was
I
the
would
only
ask them,
complaint I've
okay,
ever heard.
well, what was the plot? And then when they explain the plot, it's different. You're like, okay, so, like, if you squint really hard and don't pay attention to any of the characters or actual things that happen, sure, I guess, but I don't know.
The other thing too, right? It was because it was a carbon copy of A New Hope, but The Last Jedi that tried to, you know, do something different. It's just, this isn't Star Wars. So which is it? Like, you want safe, something that feels like A New Hope, or something that feels like something that's been done before, or something that totally challenges your like sort of preconceived notions of what Star Wars can be.
Well, not to mention, like, it's so very Star Wars for it to be like a mold breaker in a lot of ways. Of like, yeah,
I mean, that's what Empire was.
yeah. I mean, that's what A New Hope was for Hollywood, right? Like,
Yeah. I mean, not having the credits in the beginning of the movie was unheard of, and he got kicked out of the guild. Like, he couldn't hire guild actors because he didn't have the credits for the actors in the beginning of the film.
Yeah.
And a bunch of stuff like that. Like, he just broke a lot of stuff. And it's interesting though, because what happened recently with Solo Leveling, you know, where not this most recent episode, but the episode before that was the most, you know, disliked episode, to me signified the problem with Star Wars is Star Wars is not actually a power fantasy, right? You have your main character who has that arc and who's becoming powerful and who ultimately throws away the power and throws away fighting and saves the galaxy with love. And I feel like people don't understand that enough. And they're like, no, but we want the violence and stuff. And when they don't get that, it becomes...
I felt the same way as a fan of Naruto. And then when like the show Boruto comes out, they're like, "What the heck? Why is he just like doing paperwork and he's not fighting wars?" And you know, it's like, do you want him to be happy? Like
He was trying to be a dad.
this is what the entire 700 and some odd episodes were all about. Let him have his prize at the end of his rainbow, please. Like, how dare you? Do you not even like the character? And it's just like, bro, can they have peace for a minute? They did go to a war for it.
I think Boruto is the perfect example. Because if you watch Naruto, you understand that, you know, the Hokage and people on that level are built different than the characters you're following. And they do the exact same thing, but people are like, nah, they nerfed him. And you're like, no, what? Are you kidding? I don't know.
No, the threats just also got exponentially stronger. Like,
I cried when Naruto and Sasuke fought against Momoshiki. That's like the best. That's the best. Like for me, that's like the best anime fight of all time, just because
just
it
the
encapsulates the hands. It was animated beautifully, but they were both so in character with who they were, and we saw the progression of the stuff that they would do from when they were young all the way to up, and then to see them together for the first time like that, after watching Momoshiki like destroy all the other Kages, and there's like, all right, you ready? All right, let's run it. And
dust it off. I think the best part
ever.
is too, is because it's very rare. It's very rare in stories that I wish this happened, or I wish they would have made a different choice. Like a common one that I think a lot of us can relate to is like, man, if only Anakin didn't fall to the dark side and stuff like that, right? Like we always have that kind of like, And in Naruto, one of the longest ones is, man, if only like Naruto and Sasuke could get along and learn to fight together, they would be like so insanely strong. And then so when you finally get to see it, you're like, yes,
I mean, that's
vindicated.
It's the age-old adage that dates back to Dragon Ball. You know, and we got it in Super when Whis was like, if only these two can work together. It's like, you know. But each threat, Goku goes in, gets whopped. Vegeta goes in, gets whopped. And then they have to do a whole power scaling thing, and then they win. But like if they fought together, like when
from the beginning, yeah.
Even when they fuse, sometimes their personalities clash, and they still can't eke out a win.
They argue with themselves.
That's one thing that does irritate me about Dragon Ball is it's almost always base Goku that ends up winning the fight.
Yeah.
Like he'll charge up, he hits a new level, a new thing, and then they fight and all that stuff, and he gives L, and it's his biggest blast of all time, and then he's got nothing left, and then he's base form, and then he does like a Kamehameha in base form, and that's what kills him. And you're like, it's cool, but like, stop doing that.
Yeah.
Do y'all remember the Rey is a reincarnation of Anakin theories? What are y'all thoughts on that theory now that we know about her life? I always thought that theory ruined Anakin's prophecy even more. Then, I mean, like, there's a couple of things that ruins Anakin's like arc. That is the Grey Jedi and him coming back. Because I think Anakin's ultimate arc is him saving his son and dying for it. Like,
well, I think,
Yeah.
as well, like, how brutally naive do you have to be to think that, like, once peace is achieved or once balance is achieved, that's just how it's going to stay for forever? There will never be another disagreement. There will never be another conflict. There will never be anything else. It's done. And it's like,
What do you mean? When you balance things, they're balanced forever, right? Like when you balance your tires, you don't ever have to do that again, right? If you
bounce your
like
checkbook.
the pH on your pool, you don't ever have to do it again. Anything that needs to be balanced has to.
Your work-life balance.
Like it's never been a one-time thing in anything, and that's why and people get mad, but that's why people bring sexism into it, because the people's complaints don't line up with anything that if you have half a brain, so like those same people will want Grey Jedi, which actually does ruin, makes Anakin look like a friggin' idiot.
Yeah, why didn't you just choose to not go to the dark side and just play in between, loser?
Yeah. Well, it's a reincarnation.
It undermines anybody who falls to the dark side. Like,
that's actually a different timeline, and there's separate reality, and you're like, or she just did it. I don't know.
It's like Palpatine is like, I can show you the power to save your wife. And then Anakin goes to the council. Yo, I'm gonna peace out real quick just to learn this power, but I'll be back, y'all. don't
be in the temple on this day.
How could she be so powerful when she's not even the chosen one? And then you're like, Anakin was never more powerful than Palpatine.
He lost to Obi-Wan like 3 times.
So like. So what are we talking about here? Like if you just like the smallest amount of logic destroys a lot of those things, and you're like, it has to be an aversion to something that they're seeing, and then they're finding reasons out of the ether to justify their emotions, and you're like, it's okay to just not like it. That's okay too.
Yeah, you don't need to like try and rationalize something in a really weird way.
Yeah, the fandom is full of literal Freds, essentially. Like there's no nuance in their thinking. They think everything is literal. You have to constantly correct misinformation, constantly correct misinterpretation, and that's the thing too, right? That's the thing that pisses me off the most, is that with something like Star Wars, where a lot of it is interpretation, you're kind of like, how can you interpret it so stupidly? You know what I mean? If the Jedi don't go to the extremes that the Sith do, that means that they're evil too. Like, how do you interpret that?
I mean, his exact words were, for evil to flourish, good men have to do nothing. Therefore, if they don't do everything they can to murder the Sith, they are also evil. And you're like, that makes no sense at all. First of all, for evil to flourish, good men have to do nothing. That doesn't make those good men evil. That's allowing it to flourish. And like the Jedi weren't doing nothing. There's just so much. I don't know, man. Yeah. And the whole thing also has been coming up in the resurgence of the Korra hate, where like, it's the same type of illogical things. I kind of have a triangle of women though, where, listen, it's cool if you don't like certain characters, right? But if you hate Korra, Rey, and Captain Marvel, I'm just going to assume that you're on top of this.
There's part of me that thought you were just going to say Brie Larson.
Fair. But like if you hate all 3 of them, there's something
there's a
wrong.
trend.
There's something wrong.
Are you guys ready for Daredevil to be literally born again and be rebirthed?
No, I'm ready for a
It's
trial.
gonna be gross. Yeah.
He's gonna come out of the womb.
Yep. That's a different kind of drip.
Welcome to the new show. It's called Dyad and the Literal Fred, where we take everything literally. What's the next show? Andor season 2? What season is it though? Is it winter? Jesus.
What season is 2? Is that summer?
Yeah, so like I don't know. People need lessons in interpretation. As ambiguous as that sounds, it's like there's canon fact, and then there's interpretation, and I feel like people can use a trip to the gallery to see how they view art. Like, what does this say to you? It says that the Jedi are evil. It's not to be another Fred, but it's literally him being Anakin, being like, from my point of view, the Jedi are evil.
No, well, what do you know? The Jedi are in fact evil. It's been said by the Chosen One.
One of them I got flack for recently was in regards to the last. Oh, I mean, sorry, is this Daredevil up?
It is.
Yeah, it is. I have it ready to play. I was just finishing the thoughts.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll just finish this super fast. I got in trouble because I said, you know, it's like objectively not a mischaracterization of Luke, and I got pushback on that. But I'm like, if you watch The Empire Strikes Back, the in-universe characterization of Luke that we get from Yoda is he's someone that keeps looking ahead to the future, not paying attention to where he was going or what he's doing. And so when you watch him do exactly that in The Last Jedi, that is not out of character. Objectively, we were told in the film that is what he does.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people just...
God damn it!
a lot of people point to the last moment and say that's Luke, right? Even Sam Witwer's interpretation of Luke, who's like, how can somebody that is so joyous and so happy and like sees the good in people? He only did it for like 2 minutes of the film because it was his father, you know, and it was a father he never knew, right? So like, if he grew up seeing Anakin kill younglings and genocide planets, I don't know, things might be a little bit different, but you can't look at the ending of Return of the Jedi and be like, that's Luke. He's full of joy and happiness. Disregard his impulsiveness and his fall to his brush with the dark side fighting Vader and almost chopping off his
rage slashing at him.
You know, so you have to look at the holistic view of someone's character rather than just what is the ending, you know.
I also think too that there's a lot of weight to kind of bring it back to what Sam Witwer was saying with, like, at the end of the day, you can also just not like a movie, but you still just accept that that's the direction it's gone, and you just move on, right? Like, let those people who enjoy it, because for me, like, I didn't see Luke as a character of interest until The Last Jedi, where I was like, oh, so you're not just some I can do everything kind of a guy, and you actually have failed and are dealing with, you know, the survivor's guilt and depression of your actions, and like that. I'm like, that's so much more real. That's so much more of a character than some plucky farm boy who literally like saves the galaxy because he's got a smile and a lightsaber.
Well, one last thing that drives me crazy is people are like, Luke was the most hopeful person. Luke is not hopeful. Like, Leia is the embodiment of hope in the Star Wars franchise. It was never Luke.
Yeah.
When was Luke hopeful?
Also, to bring
He was
it back,
yearnful.
to bring it back to literal Freds, you know how we talk about like how Rey is a Mary Sue, but like we oftentimes say that's because she's being guided by the Force. Even the flight on Jakku with Finn, and then we point back to Luke being able to shoot the Death Star, and he's like, yeah, but he said that he bullseyes womp rats that size in Beggar's Canyon. I'm like, no, that's a literal interpretation. He's saying that he's also guided by the Force. Like, he's not doing that by himself innately. You know, he is bullseyeing womp rats that size because of the Force. Just like how Anakin is pod racing where humans cannot, because he is unknowingly guided by the Force.
How many expert pilots of the Rebellion missed that shot?
Lots.
Using targeting computers?
All of them, actually. Everybody that tried.
Exactly. Like,
No, they just needed to do it with their eyes closed and the computer off.
No,
because they need to be they need to be good. They're not good.
They
enough
didn't
as
practice on
pilots.
Womp Rats.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. They didn't hit it because they couldn't bullseye Womp Rats in Beggar's Canyon. Anyways, Daredevil, episode 3. You guys can follow along with us with the timer that I put up when we press play. So in 3, 2, 1.
Marble.
Thank you, New York. It's humbling to be speaking to you as mayor.
Vanessa's resistance is hurting you with traditional voters.
My wife and I, we have work to do.
Dr. Glenn, allow me to introduce Mayor and Mrs. Fisk.
Hector Ayala, you know they're saying you killed a cop.
Look, I didn't push him, I swear.
I'd still like to represent you.
Hector, he's not the man I married.
White Tiger, you neglect to tell me that you moonlight as a vigilante.
Someone's got to protect the streets.
I need you to find the witness that Hector saved on the platform. Nikki, you're the only person standing between Hector and consecutive life sentences.
Where is he?
Sadly, he's no longer here. You don't want to do this.
Part of me forgot this.
He's like, damn it! I was trying to do normal stuff.
I thought I was out, but they brought me back in.
Shout out to Camilla. Wait, what do they call him? Uki?
Koki?
Cookie? I thought he said Bariko Wookie. Kyle, can you move your face to your left a little bit?
Who?
You. Yeah, there you go.
Now, I had someone in my comments who was like mad because they were like, "The show is like anti-Trump and all this stuff," and I was like, "Sure, it's timely, but he's like a felon and a thug and a gangster being put in a position of power, and he's just doing what one of those people would do."
Yeah.
If you notice similarities, yeah.
The call's coming from inside the house.
Now you know
It's
why
not
so many people are
propaganda.
frustrated.
Also, this is the loudest show on Disney Plus. The mix on other shows is so low.
It's because it's epic. And grandiose.
Also, watch Deadly Boys. Fantastic show.
I started
Deadly
Apothecary
Boys?
Diaries.
Oh, I love that show. It's so good.
It's very interesting so far. You're on a tear with Chinese stories.
I mean, I've been watching that show since it came out.
I just mean like recently.
He's always on that tear.
Tearing up that Chinese. I'm just kidding. Looks like Casey Jones. Jeez. Dang.
I like these little cuts to the BB report.
Yeah. Like I said in the last reaction, it adds a lot to like street level awareness.
It honestly reminds me of like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Where it just makes it feel very like connected to the city, which is also very Daredevil.
Let them.
She's like, I remember you removing a man's head with a door.
What is that? Chicken broth?
Orange juice?
Did
A
that music
mimosa?
start swelling in like an Anakin way?
I mean, if you attribute Anakin to a Christian way. Christian choral swell.
But I like using the knuckles to connect them.
can you not? Can you not? You know he fights, and he's blind, but he's
Yeah,
also
and you
taller
got your-
than you. Can you not square up on him like that?
Yeah, like not only can he not see it, so it doesn't mean anything, but like he's not afraid of you. Like
So
he
I've
literally
also-
flipped you onto your neck.
I've also been watching Reacher, and it's the same thing where people like pick on him, but he's like a giant and super buff, and you're like, who's picking on this guy?
I just realized his skills are very beneficial to Cross. To know when people are perjuring themselves.
Yep. To know when to start questioning him harder or ease off.
You know what that look looks like? Objection calls for speculation. I watch a lot of court shows, sorry.
with the quickness.
I know, right? Stay out of sight. Look around for like 5 seconds.
Huh? Out of sight of what?
You said that funnily. Isn't that sus that, like, you're wearing a cop uniform? How is he out there?
Take out your cell phone and start recording. Nice.
Very good.
Whew. It's just like stress.
You're
Oh,
muted.
you're muted.
I'm in a glass case of emotion.
I would.
Mentiroso.
I mean, I would motion for a mistrial at that point. What are these Punisher wannabes called?
Douchebags.
Yeah, I don't think there's a straight up name for them. At least not in the comics.
Damn, you should have said Kingpin. Let's not do that. What I love about Vincent's portrayal of Fisk is that as much as he is wanting to go clean, every time he gives a look, he's still scary.
She's unfortunately so it makes it even more terrifying. Is he gonna call White Tiger?
You're not going to instruct the jury?
Dang. Well, because he fought to not have that come out.
Is that a threat?
More of just saying he's going to fight every trial that his firm tries to take.
Is Murdoch supposed to be, like, in the comics? He's supposed to be, like, a star lawyer? Or just, like,
Not-
a regular lawyer?
He's just a dang good lawyer.
He's a really good lawyer.
As quoted in Spider-Man.
Perhaps it's just the circumstances of the case, but this isn't going as well as other court shows that I watch with star lawyers who can pull shit out of their asses.
Yeah, so he's not a star lawyer because he's always trying to cover people that need it, not people that are going to advance his career.
People that the system's trying to fight against actively.
It's pretty good defense.
Damn.
What a closing.
Get him, Matt. Get him.
That's his thing. Just unfolding and folding the thing.
It's like the equivalent of dropping your chunk on the table.
This is already a trash closing. What's wrong with you? Certainly doesn't give a motive to attack a police officer, though. Spider-Man would like a word with you.
Yeah.
Especially after J. Jonah revealed his identity. So this is his church.
No. But the church he used to go to, the pastor who took care of him when he was younger and who he opened up to a lot, was killed.
No, I'm saying in that very moment, that's his church.
Oh.
He's sitting there genuflecting.
Yeah, I guess on a poetic level.
He's always been both in courtrooms and his church, though. So that's why it feels weird. Come on. Yeah. Suck it, budget Bryan Cranston.
They might find him on manslaughter, though. Okay.
Good for it.
The only people that are mad at him are like people that haven't been helped by him.
Okay. Where's his daughter? He's got a daughter, right? Is his wife pregnant?
Is this a comic thing? White Cub?
White Tiger is mostly his daughter.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
If he's truly turned a leaf, Fisk would. His haircut
He sees it as
bothers
a
me.
personal attack because he got walloped by a vigilante.
Stop being a shrink.
You're stinky. There's hollows on his hand? Call Ichigo. I mean, how many cops did he kill? Jesus.
Yeah, you only like it when the cops work as a function of you can pay them to do what you want and to function as a private military.
It is pretty hilarious to have him just walking the street.
How's it going, man? Well, how are you going to record that editorial and then at a time where he's shot dead in the street? It's a head scratcher. That's why I'm scratching my head.
That was not Frank Castle.
Nope.
Not at all.
It's a similar situation, I think, with the Bullseye Daredevil. Is when you're wearing a costume, it's easy to replicate that costume. And, yeah.
Hoo-wee. Anybody want to put down bets on whether people like this episode because there was no action?
I don't care what other people think. I enjoyed it. That was super suspenseful. Oh.
Yeah, I was holding my breath.
Yeah.
I thought that there was going to be a twist at the end there that they would find him on manslaughter because it's a lesser offense, but like, no, I mean, a full acquittal is pretty damn good. Especially when your defense kind of falls apart midway through the trial.
You know that guy. is dead. uh, woo! You know we did. No, it was a good episode. Like we got, I was wondering why the focus on White Tiger of all people, and Hector, right? Because in the comics, you know, his daughter Ava is White Tiger way more, and like that's a whole thing of hers is trying to avenge her father's death and yada yada yada. This is why they're gonna kill him.
That's one portion of the, I guess, the call to action for her. I guess that's why you were asking. All right, where's the daughter? we did see a daughter there.
That was, I thought,
niece?
his niece
Oh,
and sister-in-law is who he said he lived with. I thought.
It was he lives with his sister. They live with his sister. So
Oh,
that daughter could still very well be Ava and have the same last name. So it still work. But no, all in all, you know, good episode. We get to see that the Kingpin is definitely not turning over a new
Nope,
leaf, but he
not
is
at all.
concerned about the optics. There's that interesting power play because as an acting mayor, he gets to change the culture of the city, which is his goal. But he actually has less power now than he did before when he was ruling things in the shadow. So it's kind of an interesting, you know, I mean, this is why he's going anti-vigilante, because he was the person hiding his identity for so long. Now he's trying to make these changes publicly. So I don't know. We'll see how it works.
but he's also he also has changed the roost he rules over, because now, because he's anti-vigilante, he's got a more legitimate force in the police to do his bidding, and this is the start of it, right? Like I'm pretty sure he's the one that even if the NYPD has, or some of them has, a vendetta against Hector because they still believe that they killed their brother in arms. I think that Fisk is the one that, like, ultimately enabled that killing or that shooting in the alley.
Yeah, and that's one thing I was wondering is, you know, did he order the killing directly, or is this just a result of the culture that he is created and cultivating? But it's funny because if he's very anti-vigilante, but inside of the police organization, they're getting Punisher tattoos so that they can become vigilantes and go above where the law actually allows them to go. But these people, you know, mental gymnastics is their specialty.
Yeah. Connor says, I'm not getting over the Officer Morales name drop. Is that someone in the comics?
well, I don't think Miles's dad's last name was Morales, wasn't it? Didn't he take his mom's last name?
It depends on which one you're looking at, but in some iterations, his father has the last name Morales. But you're right. In the main continuity, his parents kept their individual last names.
Okay.
I want to say it was Jefferson.
So Connor's basically saying, name drop for Miles.
Potential. Well, not for Miles, but for his family existing, because it would all be in the same place. So, because at this point, I mean, if we were to like try and compare it to MCU timeline in any way, I think he would be far too young still to be.
I also don't think that Miles legally is MCU canon, because they only have an agreement to use Spider-Man with Sony, if I'm recalling that correctly.
We'll see what happens, because you never know what deal they might strike up. But additionally, Miles Morales comes from the not from the 616 universe. It comes from the other universe. And then during the incursions, during the Jonathan Hickman run, and the subsequent Secret Wars, after that, they created a new continuity, which allowed them to just take people from that universe and put it into their own if they wanted. And that's how Miles got into the Prime 616 universe, and now is part of it. So, considering that we're running up to essentially that story for the MCU, that is something that could happen in the future. So I can see us running into a reality where Miles already exists and has already become Spider-Man and have him cross over at that point.
He was referenced in Homecoming. I got a nephew in the city. Yeah, they can make all of the references they want. What I'm trying to say is the deal with Sony and Marvel is specifically for Spider-Man. So they would have to make a new deal for them to specifically name Miles Morales.
Well, and even then, they still have to tote around blatantly having Spider-Man as a character as well, unless it's for a specific movie deal or something like that. Which is why, like, even in Daredevil, he comments just on there being a spider vigilante, right? Like, he doesn't call him Spider-Man, right?
Yeah.
So.
And so even that reference, I got a nephew in the city that Donald Glover made in Homecoming. Even that doesn't necessarily mean that version of Miles is going to end up becoming Spider-Man. We could still have that be its own separate thing, and you could really have two Miles in the 616, or we'll have to see how things split, merge, and emerge in the end.
2 miles, but we live life a quarter mile at a time.
Unless you're Miles Prowler, then he has 2 tails.
I think it's just Miles Prower, not Prowler. As weird as it is, there's no L.
Miles per
Sorry,
hour.
that's what I thought I
Miles
said.
per hour.
I don't think it's.
Honestly, I could also just still be thinking of Into the Spider-Verse and the Prowlers.
I could have been thinking that, but I was
I don't know.
I did love this episode too. I think one of the main things that I wanted to see and what I expressed before the show came out during our discussions was I want to see Matt in the courtroom. I want to see more trials. I want to see him as a lawyer. And although, like, having watched Suits and Lincoln Lawyer and all the other dramas out there, it didn't go as I would have imagined it to be in terms of like star lawyer stuff. He still ended up with the win, and it's cool to see that because that is essentially a part of who he is. That's why we always like to see Peter Parker being smart and building things and stuff rather than just being only Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Side note: Franklin and Bash is underrated as a lawyer show.
I'm a huge fan of courtroom dramas, so I'll probably check that out because I just finished Lincoln Lawyer, which I also recommend. Lincoln Lawyer, it's really good.
Lincoln Logs.
I used to use those building cabin
Same.
models. But also, if they wanted to age up Miles, they could be like he was 8 in Homecoming. The snap happened. Now he's like 15.
Yeah.
He'd be 13 because it was 5 years, right?
I mean, but the snap resolved a couple years ago.
Oh. Right,
But then this is also 1 year later.
Yeah. If y'all were to win a difficult case, what is your go-to celebration drink? Macallan 18?
Lagavulin.
Bleach.
Oh, you're
I'm kidding.
are you're what's his face? Nick Offerman?
No. Actually, I would go
Swanson?
with Ardbeg. Ardbeg is my Scotch choice.
Interesting.
Oh, no, I would have one.
You would fit well in an anime. Because anime characters love to say German names. You know what I mean? Like, what is your name? I am Flutenhabenflad. What is your favorite whiskey? Or what is your favorite drink? Topeg.
Yeah, I don't know if I have one, honestly. I don't think I've ever had a celebration drink.
Have you ever had Macallan? Do you drink whiskey?
Yeah.
Not really. I don't really drink.
Well, I mean that just means we have to appeal to your drinking stream motivations. Might have to do one where you nurse a Macallan or Lagavulin
Yeah.
all night. I don't know why it seems to have become a synonymous thing with Ron Swanson for me. Even though I knew about Lagavulin and Glenfiddich before they were mentioned in any kind of show, or Glenfiddich, sorry.
The irony is, I think that's also just a Nick Offerman thing.
He might, yeah, he might.
Because I read his autobiography, and it's still very like up his alley. So he might even reference it as like his favorite thing too. Still, so milk, celebratory glass of milk. No, I mean I think if I were to, it'd honestly probably be like a strawberry black tea boba or something like that. This is kind of like my happy drink.
I like to think that Cal would go to a bar in celebration. He goes to a bar to celebrate and specifically orders a milk at the bar.
Bar milk.
I don't know why it makes it so much worse.
That's what I'm saying. I'm thinking like run down
it's just a carton
bar in
that just
Wisconsin. It's old. It's got like chunks in it.
Now,
It's not even cold.
No,
Hear me out. It
hasn't been cold for a week.
They have like almond milk. They have oat milk. Is there any kind of barley milk or hops milk?
Ugh. That doesn't sound pleasant.
You can make anything milk. I follow this guy, and he tried to make all the different type of words.
No, I mean, I guess if I were to say like just a blanket, this type of alcohol, it'd probably be either vodka or tequila. But like, I'm not somebody who's loyal to any one particular brand. I'm like, that's a neat looking bottle. I'll buy that.
Yeah.
Not more complicated than that.
I mean, of course, I've consumed Maker's Mark. I've consumed all of the labels, but like, I mean, I drink Toki, all of the Suntories, but Macallan seems. If I want to spend money, I get a Macallan. If I want a whiskey, I drink Toki. Which is,
I don't want to spend money is the problem. That's why I don't drink.
Well, that's in reference to like a celebratory drink, like
yeah.
if it's a huge occasion, we're gonna split the bill and get like a $200 bottle.
Now this literally just turned into like a self-reflective thing of like, I don't celebrate anything in my life. And I'm like, oh, now I'm sad.
Well, here's a conundrum. Are you really celebrating anything if you're always celebrating?
I feel like that's kind of just like what it is though for me. It's just like, yay, that's just today. I don't know.
What he's saying is all he do is win no matter what, and he ain't got time to celebrate. Otherwise, he would be 24/7.
It reminds me of a quote from Lincoln Lawyer, where he asks this person, "What's your dream?" And she goes, "My dream is to lose because I stay winning." And I was like, "That's bars." Like if you're always winning, you might dream of losing someday. You know, it's like I can't stop winning. God dang!
I always dream.
I can't stop winning.
He got money on his mind and his arms go up.
Oh God, no! I hate Jägermeister.
Yeah,
I don't like licorice or anything.
Jaeger's terrible. Shout out to Tate.
Sorry,
who
Tate.
has an ungodly acquired taste for Jaeger.
Jaeger has its place, but like a lot of people have had a
trash.
bad experience with it. But like a surfer on acid, I think is great.
My bad experience with it was tasting it.
No, I used to.
I was like, this is horrible. Why does anyone drink this?
Surfer on acid and liquid cocaine were two of my go-to drinks. And then also I enjoyed myself the occasional Jaeger bomb. You know.
That's my experience with Jägermeister is Jaeger bombs, and in the same way that Tate enjoys them.
Two drinks.
Which is why I don't like it anymore.
Actually, 3 drinks. Aviation. If they don't have that, whiskey sour with egg white. If they don't do that, then Long Island iced tea.
Does Ichimaru drink aviation?
Who?
Choco?
Huh? No, I don't. Sorry, I don't. Have
His name is Ichimaru Gin.
I haven't thought of Black Clover in a hot minute.
No, that's Bleach. But I was making a play on Gin and Jin. Like, does
You could have made a pun on
Tekken?
Jin with Jin from Samurai Champloo,
my Jin
Or
is from
Qui-Gon.
Tekken?
but that's Jin. But
Jin for me has always been first and foremost the Tekken character Kazama.
oh, that's fair.
Let's see here. Esme for vodka. Also Beluga. Beluga makes very good vodka as well.
You know what's a horrible vodka? Starts with a C. Ends with a rock.
I'll be honest. I get what they give me. I don't. I know Tito's. That's about it. Grey Goose.
No, Tito's is quality that for mixing. You know.
Which is usually what I wind up doing. So that's usually what I wind up getting.
Connor says, "Have you had a Black Russian?" I was gonna ask Choco if he could do a Russian accent.
Da. When I first turned 21, White Russians were my drink, though. That was like
I feel like that was like
I have a
the
case of
drink
them.
of the 21-year-olds though, or White
Right?
Russians
It's
and
just
Jaeger
easy.
bombs.
it's easy to drink. Speaking of Jaeger bomb, so we took this one girl out when she turned 21. She wanted a Jaeger bomb so much. But she's very persnickety. She's very put together. She's very, Anyways, she can't figure out how to drop it. She drops it. It splashes. She scoops way back and is now afraid of it and won't drink it. But, like, you have to drink it. Drink it now. And,
it's speed with the quickness. Otherwise, it's going to curdle.
If you don't drink it, it curdles. And then it gets grosser and grosser by the moment.
So just drink it so it can curdle in your stomach.
So I drank it.
Bold.
I was buying all her drinks anyways,
Yeah, that's fair.
That was our rule. When you turn 21, you don't pay for your drinks.
Yes,
I did.
And then we would just carry that on.
Well, we've already established that your life was pretty sad. Just kidding.
I mean, you're not wrong. However, I will say
You don't have to say it like that. You call them out.
between both of our instances at karaoke, I've gotten significantly more free drinks than I've ever paid for drinks. So, hey, it might have been bad then, but it got significantly better in the past several years. So,
next time you're out,
21st birthday is the friends you made along the Star Wars way.
your 21st birthday is the friends you made at Celebration. Yep.
Next time you're out, though, I want you to get a Tokyo tea.
Oh yeah, I make those myself.
Okay,
I bought a blender to make Tokyo teas. I still have my Midori and all that. Yep.
Yeah.
They're delicious.
Have you ever had
When I would
have you
do
ever
drunk
had a
streams,
matcha
which I
bomb?
haven't really done drunk streams in a hot minute, but whenever I used to do those, that's what I would typically drink.
Okay. I did not realize that.
Those are delicious. So you know what? That's my answer now. for my
Oh,
celebratory drink.
I was so
is
confused because you're still
frozen
streaming.
Tokyo
I was
tea.
like, who's looking at matcha? I'm not typing this.
What are you talking about?
Oh,
Matcha
I don't-
Bomb
I
Is
No,
not-
no. I still had the stream up, so you start typing
from
Yeah.
Daredevil.
And so I was like,
He had a panic attack. I'm being hacked. They're listening to our conversation and Googling for us.
It's Russia.
Weird.
I should have done the Russian joke.
The most helpful Russian hacker. He's Googling for us.
That would be actually pretty hilarious if you were. A
That
hacker.
would be really funny.
And you just
You were just helpful.
Connor
you need to
has.
function as their specific version of like a better version of Cortana or Siri or whatever.
Now, it's not actually hacking, of course, but I used to, when I worked in an office, I would bring in my extra wireless mouse, and so I would just plug the dongle into someone else's computer, and then would try to mimic their hand motions, like while they're doing stuff. So it would just be off with whatever they're trying to click, and they would get really mad and not know what was happening. It was a lot of fun.
I would always be the person to take a post-it note and cut off like a half little millimeter thing of the sticky part of it and put it over the laser sensor on the bottom of people's mice.
Yeah, we did that too. That's always fun.
Did it to every single computer in the computer lab at my school. And it's like, what happened? We ran updates or something.
Also, because we worked, we were answering phones and stuff. You always had to have your phone locked. So if someone didn't lock their computer, one of the things that I would do is completely change their screen orientations, the screen directions, and then I'd physically flip the monitor on the stand, and so that they would just be totally screwed up, and then we had to stop because my friend came back from lunch late and had to get right on the phones, and he couldn't do anything.
There's I don't know if it works anymore, but there was a hotkey that was like,
Oh yeah, Control-Alt-Arrow key.
yeah. Yep. And so we would do that to our teacher's computer in my programming class in high school. Because it was like, we would always give him crap because he was always really cranky. But it was like kind of like a mutual, he hates kids, we hate cranky teacher kind of a thing. But like, playfully so in a lot of ways, but he openly admitted he doesn't know why the school made him the programming teacher, because he doesn't know programming. It was pretty much just, here's your book, have fun. And so we would always mess with him, and he'd be like, what happened to my computer? And it would be like, I don't know, Mr. Programming Teacher, why don't you figure it out?
So we all had dual monitors, right? So I would go into the display settings and take your physical monitors and then move them in different spots so that you couldn't move the mouse from one to another.
Oh, yeah.
And then you flip those screens in there, and then you flip the physical screens. So everything is just so messed up that
You
just
lose.
can't unravel it.
Oh.
I have it with lime juice, Pep. I mean, that's
delightful
what
trolling.
that's what it is. You're basically making a mojito, and then you're dumping a shot of matcha into it, essentially. A lot of people call it machito, but I just like the taste of matcha. I should make JJ a matchahito. You could just put matcha in a lot of cocktails, to be honest.
I was like, machito though is like, sounds like mojito.
Oh yeah.
And so you can. It's probably less, I don't know, human parts in that though.
Less souls. Okay, well.
By the way, how romantic is it of him to see the shape of your soul? You know, it's so sweet.
I'd like for them to understand my love language.
Yeah, you want them to see the shape of your soul.
and turn it into a giant blob train that somehow has teeth and headlights.
Is there any Star Wars alcohol you'd try? Whatever.
Fuzzy
the storm.
Tauntaun!
Port in the Storm.
Yeah,
Let's do
that
it.
one.
I'm not gonna lie, at Galaxy's Edge, they were all great. Every single one I tried
were
was
all
fantastic. So one of the best things though too was the Fuzzy Tauntaun followed by the like habanero cheese with the pretzel bites. Because that like it was real. I mean, it wasn't really spicy, but a spicy thing when your face is numb is such a weird experience, especially when you're a little, intoxicated. It's fun.
And get that. You also, swig up a spotchka.
Have the soup with a living tentacle monster in it.
I
I like all the
say
drinks from Scum and Villainy too.
we
need to go.
They didn't like they serve Port in the Storm, but you know it's not the Port in the Storm from the book. You know what I mean? Port in the Storm from the book is like White Lightning, is what, like it's just straight up moonshine. You might go blind with it. But also they made what does Leia have in that same book? Tonneray wine. They made that sound really good.
I mean, honestly, anything in text sounds like a good time. In terms of alcohol. Anything that Lando drinks, I would drink.
Including
that guy has
hot
a good
chocolate.
taste.
I was gonna say including other things, but yeah, let's go with that.
In some cases, a white Holdo. And that's where the Holdo maneuver came from.
Did I ever tell you about the Holdo maneuver I made back at the Battle of Tanab?
Jeez.
We turned down all the lights and muted all of the sounds. And then at the end it went BOOM.
Whoa, Jesus. That's the sound that it makes when you get a concussion on both sides of your head at the same time.
Talk about exit
On all of
velocity.
Anyways, Daredevil's pretty good.
Oh, it's a watch party and it's also Yoda's hut. So Yoda's hut is just chatting. So
It's just funny to go from that to that. Yes.
But what? He was a smuggler for a long time. It's perfectly fine to talk about Lando's.
What are you smuggling? What did you say? No.
Yeah.
Anywho. But that, like, in all sincerity, that was actually a really fun episode. It's just like the tough thing is for me is it's an episode that's like a transitional episode, right? The opening was so potent, and this was a very intense and emotional episode, but like we still haven't come to know exactly what the kind of like threat of this season's really going to be.
Yeah.
So I can see how some people might be like, oh, it's not pushing plot or whatever. But for me, it's like, no, this is still like insanely important to Matt as a character. So,
I mean, for me, this is exactly what was needed, because it is, I mean, people are going to say it didn't push the plot when it absolutely is. But we need our shows to be long enough that stuff is introduced. You know what I mean? I feel like lately we've gotten shows that are so short that there are no side plots. There's no side development. It's the one thing for every episode.
And I feel like
that's a bad thing.
Is that not like the number one complaint that I hear? Well, I mean, at least that I hear about like any modern media is one, they shouldn't have rushed it, and they should have drawn it like we wanted more of this moment, or whatever the case might be, or the pacing felt rushed.
Yeah.
Or the pacing was off or whatever. And so it's like, that's why you need things to be drawn out and to actually have time to care about characters that are in danger and stuff like that. If it's just like a nobody, why do I care?
But this was actually a very apt plot development, right? Because we have lines in this episode where the guy's like, they're the heroes that don't wear masks. And then we have Matt revealing someone's identity from their mask. And it's all going to play into the whole, log line of the show, which is Born Again.
Yeah.
He's going to have to don the mask again.
Well, and then we have Kingpin, who's pretending to be good. That is the mask, Yeah, it's
Layered.
It's poetic.
It's
nuanced.
Yeah. And that's why that painting of Wilson Fisk with like the half of him unmasked is even more potent too. More on that character soon.
Which incidentally looks like Trump, that side.
One of the things that we keep coming back to is
starts deformed and like shed snake skin. Anyways,
we keep focusing on his knuckles being like bruised and stuff like that, as if he was just in a fight, but we're not seeing him fight. So is he in the gym like working on his fitness, and he's hitting punching bags, and that's what's happening, and he's going to be a beast at the end, or is there something else going on entirely? Like he's just beating people off screen.
Jesus Christ. Why couldn't the screen happen sooner in that sentence?
Listen.
Is he just
the
beating
heart
people
hears
off
what you
screen? You're talking about Fisk, right?
Yeah, Fisk, his knuckles have been bruised in both of these past episodes. And they used that as the connecting scene when they went from Fisk's knuckles to Matt's. But of course, Matt's were bruised because he was just beating up cops the night before. Why were Fisk's bruised?
Whoa. Framing. He wasn't beating up cops. He was defending himself.
It's true.
I mean, I support it. Either way.
No, that's true. It's a huge indicator that Fisk isn't on the up and up, and I had no doubt that he was on, I had no I suppose delusions that he wasn't up to no good. I was kind of hoping in this episode that like once he saw the news, the press release that Hector was acquitted, that he would put on like some type of like ruse and hold a press conference like justice was good this day, but no, he's still openly anti-vigilante.
I feel like honestly a big part of it's because it's personal, right? Like he doesn't like vigilantes because that's what broke down his criminal empire, was a vigilante, that he even tried to incriminate by hiring a fake vigilante to start just killing people, and still lost. And so now he's on this quote-unquote born-again righteous path of thinking that he's going to now do the good thing by cleaning up vigilantes because they're the real problem. And it's like, no, you're projecting.
I mean, it's men like him are always trying to consolidate power by making a perceived other to fight against. That's a very common thing.
In the chuds.
But it's interesting because Matt told him, once we're done, you are no longer White Tiger, right? And we see what happens when he went out as White Tiger. The Sokovia Accords, I believe, are repealed. in the Marvel universe, but sounds like it's open season on Vigilantes, which means we gotta get Luke Cage back in there, because you try to do that to Luke Cage and he's gonna smack you on the forehead.
Wait, that scene
with his forehead. And spoiler alert, yours is gonna lose.
Also, I screwed myself because my wife is watching through the Netflix Marvel stuff for the first time, and so she was just watching Jessica Jones, and so she finally got introduced to Luke Cage. And when everyone is in the bar trying to fight, and he's just like, and they're like trying to stab him with broken bottles and stuff, and he's just like, the hell? So he smacks them, and they're like flying around. Listen. There's a reason why, I'm like, honey, you're not watching any Nightwing tonight. Now I gotta be careful, Luke Cage.
That's one of my favorite things about him, though, is the not wanting violence part, the sigh because he's met with violence anyways, and just the way that, like, especially in the show, the way he'll straight up just smack someone down, just be like, no, like, stop. You're clearly not doing anything. All this is wrong. You are going to lose. Like, it's just, I don't know. He's just a really fun character. I love the way he fights. I just like him for. I honestly think Michael Coulter portrayed him super, super well.
Yeah.
I hope he comes back.
So that would make me very happy.
I've also been watching The Expanse.
Yay! What do you think?
Oh, I mean, I enjoy it. I started it a long time ago, and I caught up to where it was, and so I stopped then, and so I finally, I don't know, I believe I'm in season 2, but yeah, it's going.
How many seasons?
3, 4? I don't know.
Okay, so not that expansive.
Get out.
It is.
And leave call. Okay.
Yeah, that seems like a good kind of segue. Thank you guys so much for joining us on this Daredevil Watch Party Yoda's Hut edition, or this is Yoda's Hut Daredevil Watch Party. I can't English.
Yoda's
right
Devil.
now.
Daredevil's Hut. I don't know.
Daredevil's butt. Yoda's Devil. Connor Harith, Spooky, Cal 4. Who's that?
Wow, some loser.
I see. Well, join us next time on Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific, for our next. God dang, I'm out of it. Our next show, 5 p.m. Pacific. Hope you guys had a fun time watching along with us. Bye.
Just bye.
On to the
So
next
full
one.
of beans.
On to the next one.
Are we still on?
Yeah.
We're still on, yes.
For Daredevil in Light, for Daredevil in Darkness. I don't know.
We are all wearing masks.
And my
that's-
Wilson Fisk. Never mind. I was gonna say.
Goodbye.
This guitar, it is wild. It is super high tech, but at the same time it makes things so much easier. So it kind of looks like any other guitar, but as you might have noticed, there's some little extra. So we've got the pad here in the back. We've got this little joystick over here. There's even a screen on top, all the knobs, and there's not one, but 3 cables coming in. The craziest and best feature is something you cannot see, but it's a thing I'm dreaming about for 15 years, and they call it a groundbreaking fretboard scanner, and it might do something like this. Hold on, not so fast. So here I've got the Expressive MIDI Pro 2, built by a small company in Ireland by Rob O'Reilly, and thank God this guitar just sounds like any other guitar. This guitar just sounds too, built by a small company in Ireland by Rob O'Reilly, and thank God this guitar just sounds like any other guitar. Really unsurprisingly, we've got that classic guitar sound we all know and we all love. And actually, I really do like the sound of this guitar. And there's also a piezo pickup for those that like that sound. It's not for me, but I mean, if you love it, it's there. It plays great. I think this guitar could be anyone's main axe, really. But there's more. So let's start with the most eye-catching feature, the XY pad. XY because, like, remember math, there's like 2 axes, the X and the Y, and both can control a parameter. You can just touch it with a finger or with a pick and it picks it up super quick. So I got it hooked up with a good old MIDI cable to the hologram electronic microcosm and the Chase Bliss Maris CXM 1979. And this might blow your mind. So I'm actually controlling the knobs and the parameters of the delay, of the reverb, and of the overdrive pedal in real time with the volume pod, or just a pod over here, and the XY pad, and it's super cool. So for example, when I was playing the lead and I want a little bit more gain, I just use this button to dial up the gain, and you see it moving over there. It's great. So I'm using the pedals with movable faders right now because it's just easy to see for you what's happening. But there's loads of different pedals that all use MIDI. It's a super universal system, so a lot of pedals will accept the commands coming out of this guitar. So really the sky is the limit here, and I think that after you set it all up, of course, which might take some time, it's a great way to be close in touch with the sound you're playing with. Make micro adjustments on the go without having to shoegaze, for example. But you really have to think about what parameters you want to control. Like, I think the most obvious things would be like a mix or a filter, repeats on a delay, a mix on a delay, the gain on an overdrive pedal, that kind of thing. That's really handy and will always be awesome, and it's super usable. So I told you about the hidden features of this guitar, right? Actually, what's coming now is, I guess, like the main feature of this guitar, and bizarrely we didn't talk about it before. But anyway, I'm just so excited. I forgot a lot of things. This guitar can sound like any instrument you ever dreamt about. For example, this guitar is called the MIDI Pro guitar because it just sends all the notes you play as MIDI notes to whatever accepts it. It can be a hardware synthesizer, your computer, anything. And anyone knows what is happening right now, knows this is exceptionally well done. Also how it responds to bending notes. It does so with that so-called groundbreaking fretboard scanner. It knows every note you play instantly and sends it over via the MIDI protocol. The guitar is available from 2,990 euros, which I think is a totally competitive price point considering how much R&D had to go into building this guitar and how feature-packed it actually is. And there's multiple ways to trigger the notes with just picking the strings like this, or with tapping on the XY pad. It works well with strings. Or with the finger pads. So there's 6 strings, 6 pads. So this really dropped my jaw. What I showed before with the controls, it's awesome, but it's just like a control built into a guitar. And I've seen it before on guitars like Matt Bellamy, for example. He used the Chaos pad to control several parameters. This is even more, but also it has that MIDI functionality of the notes, just playing the note. And the guitar tracks the note bizarrely well. Just like have a listen how clean it picks up the notes. Right? That's crazy, right? So I have played MIDI guitars before, but to be honest, nothing like this really. So you do have to play the notes neatly. Like if you play scales, for example, it works really well. Or single lines. But if you play more funky based lines like a you know, it sort of goes all over the place because it just doesn't understand what on earth your hand is doing. So one of the coolest things is, like now I'm playing in regular mode where you just pick the notes with the pad, with the pads, or with the pick. But there's also
the tap mode.
And this is next level. So now we can just play the notes by tapping on the fret. And it works really accurately. So, That is pretty sick, right? And I've got a filter to this knob. So a big problem with this kind of tech has always been latency. It's the moment between when you press the note or play the note and when you actually hear it. And this guitar has an adjustable latency setting. You can actually flick through the settings and find 2 milliseconds to 5 milliseconds and even higher. I don't know why anyone wants higher, but 2 milliseconds is extremely fast. So this time I'm just keeping it at 2 and it delivers like, it is super accurate. Of course, there's also the latency of the instrument you're using. So I'm running it in Ableton Live right now with a buffer size of 128, which gives me, I think, 3 milliseconds. So in total, it should be like 5, which is really usable. There's now just one USB cable plugged in going straight into the computer, and this guitar just sends information about the notes, like the length, the duration, the start, like if there is some sort of expression going on. It goes through the cable into your instrument or your computer, and your synthesizer will immediately play that note that it gets from the guitar. You can octave up and down. You can use your joystick. So sometimes there's just an anomaly. Sometimes it doesn't play the note. Could be dirt on the guitar or sweat from my sweaty hands of the stress of recording this video. That's impressive, right? So actually, the more I think about it, the more I get excited about what's possible with this guitar. Like MIDI is such a universal language. It's for music instruments, it's for computers, it's a bridge between everything. This guitar could potentially be like the brain of the entire operation, like eagerly waiting to give instructions to whatever you want to say something to. So when Rob reached out and told me about this guitar, I got really excited because something like this has been on my wish list for so long. And seeing it in action, like it really delivers. It is really what I hoped for, but I'm sure this isn't for everyone. For example, when setting up the guitar to control the guitar pedals, the parameters, you do really have to look into the manual. So I had all these manuals lying around for all the pedals. What MIDI number is that parameter? Like, what channel are they on? And for those that already worked with MIDI before, I guess it's really a piece of cake. It's just super intuitive. But if you don't enjoy that part, if you don't like it, or you don't even know MIDI existed before this, I'm not sure this is like the best way, because you probably don't even need it. Also, you have to like be into synthesizers or like love to work with computers and plugins, because that's where the guitar really shines. So preparing for this video, setting all the pedals up, preparing the live set with all the different instruments, it took like 2 days, I guess, not full days, half days, to make sure it all worked like how it should be. MIDI is super stable. It's been around for so long, and it will be for so long because everyone uses it. That said, I had some quirks, but that might also be the pedal. I had some issues with the blooper. I was recording the video just now, and I wanted to control the blooper with the joystick, turning the mods on and off. So you can do like, blah, 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 blah. You can get really creative with that. But then it just stopped working, but only on the blooper, because when I switched to different pedals, it worked again. Don't want to blame anyone, so I'm just keeping that in the middle. But to be fair, I guess the guitar wasn't really designed to adjust pedals like that. It was just something that really immediately created a spark, like in my imagination. What can we do if we could control every parameter in each pedal, which is the guitar? That would be awesome. No, endless fun, right? But that is just me. The guitar is aimed, I guess, more at folks that want to play with MIDI instruments, like not using keyboards, just want to play the synthesizers with the guitar. And that is huge. That is so great. So having the guitar for a few weeks, I actually use it in many of my projects already. For example, in my previous video, the lo-fi, where I played the melody. So I played the melody on the guitar, but I wanted to harmonize with some bells, with some strings, and sometimes relearning a part on the keys, it just takes a little bit longer. Don't even talk about like drawing in MIDI notes. That's just tedious. I don't do that ever. So learning a part on a piano, I mean, I can play a little bit piano, but like not as good as guitar. So I rather just play it on a guitar and track a bell with the guitar? Or why not track a stringed instrument with the guitar? It makes so much more sense. You can do all the slides, you can do all the vibratos super naturally, and it sounds so much more natural instead of playing it with the keys, right? So I had a lot of fun using the guitar for that. Anyway, I'd love to hear from you. Do you see yourself using an instrument like this? Like, did I miss maybe some super creative way to use the guitar, or like a very obvious way? Do you think this might be a solution for guitarists that just don't want to learn a piano? Because let's be fair, playing stringed instruments is so much more intuitive on a guitar than on a piano. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Thanks, Rob, for letting me check out the guitar. I might give you a call to see if I can buy it. Have a lovely day and see you next time. Cheers. One thing I forgot. Check this out. Woohoo! This is my Strat. There it is. A beautiful print on beautiful paper. So we're doing a limited run of 75. Oh my, this is really beautiful. With my